that the curriculum has been reduced. Curriculum कैसे reduce किया गया है? The curriculum in all the subjects is to be reduced to its core essentials. To understand core essentials, in particular subjects, in particular grades, कुछ ऐसे concepts होते हैं. There are some concepts which, if you are not teaching in that particular grade, it is fine. Or some concepts which the child can acquire even from Wikipedia or Google, from anywhere, factual concepts like that. तो उन concepts को हटा दिया जाएगा. So, and I'll also, help you understand why this change. Whenever we talk about, experiential learning in the classroom or using different forms of pedagogy in the classroom, the major challenge that a teacher faces is कि, syllabus बहुत बड़ा है. हम मतलब कैसे पढ़ाए, हम सिलेबस पे ध्यान दें या फिर हम एक्टिविटीज पे फोकस करें. सो फॉर दैट ओनली टू लेसन डाउन द बर्डन ऑफ द टीचर्स, करिकुलम को रिड्यूस किया गया है. क्यों? सो दैट टीचर्स कैन फोकस मोर ऑन इंक्विजिटिवनेस, प्रोमोटिंग इंक्विजिटिवनेस फ्रॉम द चाइल्ड. क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग में ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस दिया गया है. डिस्कवरी बेस्ड, डिस्कशन बेस्ड, एनालिसिस बेस्ड टीचिंग एंड लर्निंग मेथड्स पे ज्यादा फोकस किया गया है फॉर अ होलिस्टिक एजुकेशन. क्रिटिकल थिंकिंग, टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस, critical thinking does not mean to criticize. Critical thinking means wherein the child will be given a problem, or just the child will be observing something, analyzing something, and share his opinions on something. Try to solve a particular problem on his own. So this is something that has been given more importance. Classroom interactive, promoting questions from the students. अभी क्या होता है कि because teacher को एक particular time में अपना topic खत्म करना होता है, so she is not able to take more questions from the students. Now teachers will be promoting more questions from the students, and dependency on the textbook learning will reduce. So always having a textbook in hand and reading it and comprehending it, rather have interactive classrooms wherein the students are interacting with each other. They are asking questions and trying to come up with their own answers, developing a scientific temper. So all this is given more importance. Then exploration is something जिसको बहुत importance दिया गया है, wherein the students are collaborating with each other, they are doing fun in the classroom, being creative and exploring something new. How? By doing experiential learning. This is going to deeper the student learning. Abhi bhi teachers who are with EDAP, we know how we use iTeach and iDo for this particular purpose. So this is going to help them retain whatever they are learning in the classroom. Now, to help teachers in this, there is more focus that is given on learning outcomes, competencies, and subject integration. Let us understand these one by one. First is competency-based education. So there will be modules on preparing and implementing pedagogical plans based on competency and outcome-based education. So let's take an example here. Suppose if a child has to cook something, so that is the outcome. Whatever he is going to cook is the outcome. For that, what does he need? Learning outcome के लिए एक plan चाहिए, pedagogical plan चाहिए. What should be the plan? Which shows him the step one by one. पहले क्या step है, then what is the step, then what is the step. So he needs the recipe. So that will be your pedagogical plan. Now, competency. What would be the competency for cooking? He needs to know the ingredients. He needs to identify the ingredients. अब नमक की जगह शक्कर डाल दिया तो फिर खाने बिगड़ जाएगा. So he needs to identify the ingredients. He needs to know that the flame should be high or medium or low. So these are what? These are competencies that a child should acquire. And then using this, the final outcome, what the child has cooked. So that is what competency based education is being given more focus on, learning outcome based education. Then integration of subjects. इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ सब्जेक्ट्स मीन्स कि ऐसा नहीं कि हम मैथ्स पढ़ा रहे तो मैथ्स पे ही फोकस कर रहे हैं, साइंस पढ़ा रहे तो साइंस पे ही फोकस कर रहे हैं. While we are teaching, we can use arts, we can use sports, we can use any digital platform, any computer, laptop, anything, storytelling as pedagogies in place of the standard as standard pedagogies, in place of just reading out from the textbook and answering the question. So basically rote learning को थोड़ा replace किया जा रहा है यहाँ पे. तो very simple, before starting a class you can play some games to help them identify what they are going to learn today. While learning the concept, you can use activities like Pictionary and all in the classroom, make them draw something draw something and learn. Then use of digital platforms can be done. Storytelling, summary telling, storytelling pedagogies can be used in the classroom. Then developing scientific temper. So scientific temper means the child is questioning more, he is observing the reality on his own, like discovering your own truth, कि जो हमें बताया गया है उसके आगे जाकर के भी मैं खुद से चीजों को एनालाइज करूं और समझूं. टेस्टिंग, हाइपोथेसिसिंग and analyzing different situations. So development of scientific temper. There are going to be no silos. No silos means no specific intended learning outcome among any subject or learning. In very simple language, no compartmentalization between a subject and any form of learning. जैसे अभी वेरी सिंपल एग्जांपल जो अभी हमने देखा कि वोकेशनल और एकेडमिक को अलग अलग नहीं रखा जाएगा, दैट विल बी पार्ट ऑफ द एकेडमिक स्ट्रक्चर, द लर्निंग प्रोसेस. सिमिलरली अभी जैसे इंटीग्रेशन ऑफ सब्जेक्ट में हमने देखा कि क्लासरूम लर्निंग में ही हम आर्ट्स भी कर रहे हैं, स्पोर्ट्स भी कर रहे हैं. देयर इज नो सेपरेशन बिटवीन करिकुलर और नॉन को करिकुलर और एक्स्ट्रा करिकुलर. सो ऑल दिस विल बी अ पार्ट ऑफ द टीचिंग लर्निंग प्रोसेस फॉर द चाइल्ड. Emphasis on digital literacy. डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म की यूजेज को ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंस दिया गया है. यूज ऑफ डिजिटल प्लेटफॉर्म, कोडिंग, कंप्यूटेशनल थिंकिंग इन द क्लासरूम इन वाइल लर्निंग. इसका मैं आपको बहुत सिंपल एग्जांपल देती हूँ, वेरी बेसिक एग्जांपल, एंड ऑल ऑफ यू विल रिलेट टू इट. टेक एग्जांपल ऑफ चाइना. इन चाइना they introduced coding as a subject in school itself. And I don't have to say anything. You can see the development of the country, right? So this is what is being given more focus on: coding, computational thinking, use of digital platforms, use and knowledge of digital platforms. This will again come in competency-based education. Then promotion of multilingual teaching. This is different than using mother tongue approach. Multilingual teaching is there will be introduction of any Indian language after 6th grade. After 6th grade, the child will be introduced to any Indian language. It can be Sanskrit, it can be Kannada, it can be Telugu, Tamil, koi bhi, and there will be agreements jahan pe states will hire language teachers. So that will also be coming into place. So I know there is a lot of information that we have just seen. It can be even overwhelming for all the teachers. So let's stop and acknowledge what we are feeling right now with all this information. And in a word or in a sentence, you can mention in the chat box, or you can raise your hand and just share it with us. How are you feeling right now? So right now, just calm down, drink water. बहुत सारे information गए हैं. So how are you feeling right now? Upgraded, confident, very nice. Let's see, some teachers have raised hands here. Harmeet ma'am, please unmute yourself and share. Okay. Nooripura ma'am, please unmute yourself. Just a moment. Ijlal sir, please unmute yourself.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Thank you
Good afternoon, sir.
Thank you for enlightening us with all this. Actually, to be honest, I am feeling very confident and relaxed in a way, because you as EDAC is already offering all this since a long time. Although I am not a very old school because I just joined before COVID, but things happen. My own education has been very interesting. I have had a very experiential based kind of a NEP learning in a way. It was not called NEP, but my school and everything was that. But my work right now, the work I'm in right now, I'm in education as a service or a community service, a charitable project. So I'm not like the DPSs or the GD Goenkas, which is not actually, it's not a commercial model. It's more of a service model. So it's not a free model as such, but it's more of a service model. So I'm actually struggling because I'm from a very highly qualified background, and the people I am catering to are very actually, I mean, very, very low. Basically, first generation school goers in a way. And I've been struggling in a way that this whole higher education comes here. That accessibility point, that was a very good point here. And this is the reason I'm feeling very confident. And with all the learnings that we've had with EDAC and all your orientations, and I'm sure that the people must have seen that video. There is this Tota, that the parrot one, whether you open with the mind with the chabi, that the EDAC has been sharing a lot of times. So all this makes me really confident as a school, as a parent, because my own daughters are studying in the school, and because you have 4 pillars in EDAC, the parent and teacher. I'm also a teacher by choice here. I'm teaching some subjects. I'm a parent. I'm the management also. The only thing I'm not is a student right now. That my team, So I'm feeling really confident because now finally our government has made a formal system to do this.
Yes.
We were doing it privately in our own attempt, but glad that this is being recognized. And I'll just give you one last example. Yeah. What I actually suffered as a child, although it was not much for me, but I am actually from ICSC board. I'm from Dehradun, Welham Boys School. We were ICSC board school. Our kids were actually smarter than all the CBSE boards that I felt that time. But when we entered all these Delhi schools, like, the colleges, our percentages were cut because we were not the Rattu Totas, we were not very too much, we were more practical and we were more confident. We were boarding school product. And we always had a great hit when there was a cutoff, in the universities. Let's say there's a 97% cutoff. ICSC would definitely get a -5. So our 97 actually would be considered a 92 that time. I'm talking like 2001 right now, 20 years ago. But right now with this standardized and uniform everything, when everyone is gauged on the same pattern, be it UP board, ICSE, CBSE, I know English is a challenge here, but this thing that has happened, I'm actually feeling very happy and very excited and very confident. So kind of EDAC has already adapted this already. We have already been kind of with all the, the values that you're teaching in your pre-primary and everything. And all that, the grade 1 to 8, the things are there, the games are there till grade 1 to 5, and all these things. I think you guys already knew this. This is going to happen. So already done this before. This is my thought. But anyway, very good and very informative session. In fact, I would like that if you share the presentation with us. So I'll actually conduct our own training for my own teachers also in this with EDAC format, so that they can actually know what the real beauty of the NEP is now.
Thank you. I will look into that, sir. We'll reach out to you on that. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, teachers, I'll take a pause here. And so we have discussed the why of NEP. We have discussed the how of NEP. What changes are going to be done now? What would be changed for the teachers and for examination structures and everything? So Anusmita ma'am now will be taking charge, and she will be taking you through all of it. Anusmita, over to you. I'll stop sharing. Thank you so much, teachers. You have been a great audience.
Okay. Hello, teachers. Thank you so much, Tanushri. So I am Anushmita. I am going to take it forward from here. So I was reading all the messages, most of the messages I read, and we have also heard from some of the teachers. I'm very happy to see that all of you are very excited about NEP, very hopeful, very positive. Some of you might be confused, but the emotion is mostly positive, right? So so if this question is being posed, how are you feeling right now, or in general, how are you feeling about NEP, I would say you are very, very positive. So that's the first step. Stay positive. From here, I'm going to talk about a little bit more about how of NEP. Also, what is the role of the teachers, right? And lastly, the examination structure. Most of you have asked a lot of questions regarding examination. Uh, Tanushri has already, answered a few of the questions, but let us talk more about it, right? So let us proceed. Uh, All right. So as I told you, we are going to discuss about how of NEP. Till now, we have discussed what is NEP, the academic structure of it, how NEP is, changed from 10+2 to a more, structured approach, like 5+3+3+4, right? And also we discussed about the learning gap and overall all the changes, right? So now let us understand what should be the approach of teaching, right? What should be the pedagogy? When I talk about pedagogy, I mean the teaching learning process. In simple words, the methods of teaching, right? So if the plan looks, the policy looks very ambitious, right? Very ambitious, very much fun, challenging. So needless to say, there is going to be a lot of changes, challenges when it comes to teaching, right? So let us learn one by one. So the first focus will be on experiential learning. So to put it in a very simple way, what is experiential learning? Learning through an experience. You experience something and you learn it, right? For example, these days I'm trying to learn driving, right? So you can give me a manual, but I can't read the manual and instantly start driving a car. For that, I have to gain experience. I have to start driving. I have to get out of my fear. I have to try driving maybe in the field first, then slowly on the road, right? So this is called experiential learning. You ask question, you experience something, you discover. That's how you learn, right? So all our teaching will be based on experiential learning. Next, integrated pedagogy. This is something Tanushri has mentioned over and over again, is integrated pedagogy. So arts, sports, storytelling, ICT, we have to integrate everything into our daily, teaching of subjects, right? There'll be music in math, there'll be math in science, there'll be value which you will teach in English. Everything will be interlinked, right? Like in our when I was learning, I remember there used to be one subject called value education, where there used to be a separate class, and the teacher used to tell us, okay, today we are going to learn about discipline. And she used to give me, 2-3 points. What is discipline? What are the things? Now the approach will be slightly different. Now everything will be linked. Can we link? Can we teach discipline while doing an activity in science? Right? So everything will be linked. Next, promotion of peer tutoring. Can we ask two friends in the classroom to teach each other, or maybe one child teaching a struggling child, right? So there will be focus on the peer tutoring, right? Peer means friend tutoring each other. Next point, equal weightage, right? So two things they have spoken about here. One is there will be no hard separation between curricular, extracurricular, or co-curricular, right? So you all might have experienced this. Even I have also experienced in my early, schooling, that uh, physical education will be completely separate, and there always used to be given less importance, right? More important subjects would be math, biology, physics, right? And these subjects used to be very separated and also given less importance. But now equal importance will be given, equal weightage will be given, there won't be any separation, right? Then this is very, very interesting. Freedom of choosing a variety of subject combination to be provided. I think this is going to play a crucial role in learning, because now students will be excited, right? Like, take for my example, like when I was asked to choose whether I should go for arts, commerce, or science, I had to choose humanities because I didn't like physics, I didn't like chemistry, but I was in love with biology. But because I had to avoid, physics, I had to avoid chemistry, I had no other choice but to, you know, uh, not take biology and go for humanities only. But now there'll be more freedom given to the students, right? And if you give more freedom, the students will be more excited to learn, right? Next, baggage days. So this is also something Tanushi already covered, is like, vocational learning will be, activities will be conducted from grade 6, right? And they'll be having internship, they'll undergo internship, they'll so when these days will be bagless, right? And a total number of it is going to be 10-day period, bagless days, right? And the last is use and integration of technology. So teachers, can we integrate technology in classes? Can we make it a part of it, right? So we have to think from that perspective. Can we use technology, because technology is extremely important, efficient. Like, think like in COVID days, how classes are still being conducted, how we guys are connected. It is only through the use of technology. Otherwise, trust me, learning would have stopped during COVID, right? Like many other sector. But education sector is still going on, mostly because of the technology, right? So this is the overview of the pedagogy which the teacher has to, the teacher will be keeping in mind while preparing the teaching learning process for the kids, right? So now let us go forward, and let's learn about examination from grade 1 to 8, right? So here a lot of questions I have seen in the chat box, like many questions regarding examination, and rightly so, because uh, examination have been a very important part of the academic structure, right? I mean, parents want to know how much kids have scored, and teachers also want to know, because that is the only medium how you get to know what is the performance of the kids, right? So we cannot neglect the examination. So examination has to be there. So before I okay, so the first thing we are going to talk about is key stage assessment, right? So what is key stage assessment? Let us go forward a bit and let us revise. Yes. So these were the stages which Tanushri spoke, right? Which comes under curricular and pedagogical structure, right? What are the stages? Foundational, preparatory, middle, and secondary, right? So earlier, the existing academic structure had only 10+2. That was a part of the formal education. But now there are stages, right? So when there are stages, there are going to be assessment of every stage, right? Why is this being proposed? Because see, earlier times when we were studying or our kids were studying earlier, before the NEP came into place, um, 10 years the kids used to study, and there used to be no, you know, state level exam to assess their performance, and that's a long gap till grade 11, right? So very often we used to notice that, you know, um, one second. So very often we used to notice that the kids who usually perform very, you know, they bring bright results, they perform brightly in the initial, you know, grades, maybe grade 1 or grade 2, sometimes the child, you know, starts deteriorating, the performance start deteriorating till the child, you know, gets to grade 5, 6, right? And we have no answer to that. We really don't know why is that. I mean, why my child who was performing so bright in grade 2, 3, suddenly what happened? We have no answer. So to answer that thing, now what we have done is we have brought this change, right? Key stage assessment. So there is going to be state-wise assessment, right? In grade 3, grade 5 and grade 8, right? To track the achievement of the students, right? So the first stage is, let's say, foundational stage. So how much the child has, like how well the child has performed in the foundational stage. What are the remedies which are need to be taken, right? So stage-wise assessment will be done. Next, these kind of assessments will move away from the rote learning, right? So earlier times we used to mark things and we used to write, but now everything is going to be competency based, right? The ability of the child, right? So assessment is going to be less rote and more competency based. Then all this to be achieved, what we need critical learning outcomes. So a lot of focus will be given on the learning outcomes, critical learning outcomes. Teacher need to think before going to class, okay, what I am going to achieve, what my kids are going to learn, right? So they need to know. It's not like they are only going to think, oh, my topic is, you know, living thing and non-living thing. No, they are going to specifically think, okay, my children will be able to differentiate between living and non-living things. It has to be detailed and it has to be well thought about, right? Let's go next. Results of school examination. So this is the very first point, key stage assessment, right? So as I told you, 3, 5 and 8, there are going to be key stage assessments, right? One purpose of it is we will know that what remedies to be taken for the children. Also, second important thing why this key assessments have come into bring is because we want to you know, use it for developmental purposes. We want to see how NEP is working, how schooling system is working. Do they need more resources, right? Are there any loopholes in the schooling system since you're the first batch to be starting, right? So this key stage assessment is very, very important. And lastly, everything we are doing it to promote 21st century skills, right? Communication, creativity, presentation skills. So everything that I spoke about till now, we are doing to promote, to bring 21st century skills, right? So this is how the examination is going to look like. Also, I want to add something here, which Tanushi already said, that the foundational stage, there are going to be no marks, sure, but there are going to be parameters by which you are assessing the child. There is going to be a structured rubric. So teachers don't think that because there are no marks, so you are not assessing the child, right? And the children are only coming, playing, there is no examination. there are no marks to reduce the social and like the anxiety among the kids, to reduce dropouts, but there is going to be assessment, right? So moving forward, so before I take this slide, which says, the heading says empowering teachers, so I'm going to tell you how much importance has been given to the teachers, because we all know that teachers are everything is going to be on the paper and nothing will translate into action if teachers do not drive the process, if teachers don't bring the change in the classroom. So keeping that in mind, NEP has focused a lot on empowering teachers, because even NEP realizes the importance of teachers, right? So now let's learn how this will be beneficial to the teachers. In the chat box also, I got a lot of responses where teachers are interested in knowing, oh, how NEP is going to be beneficial for the teachers, how teachers have to prepare now, what changes for the teachers. It means you are interested, right? And rightly so, because you all are teachers, right? So you will be interested. So let's see how it is going to impact and empower the teachers. So the first point which has been stated here is teachers to give more autonomy in choosing aspects of pedagogy in classroom teaching, right? So what does it mean? So here there are pedagogy given, and there are different methods of teaching, right? Experiential learning, integrated pedagogy, promotion of peer tutoring, and everything is given. Now teacher has the liberty, teacher has the autonomy to decide which pedagogy they want to go forward and they want to teach. That autonomy is given, right? So that the teachers are motivated, right, to teach. Secondly, very, very important, because teachers, this is, again, I'm saying, because this is the first batch where we are applying NEP, naturally, the teachers need a lot of training, right? Nothing is going to be easy. You have to, come back from the traditional to a non-traditional approach. So keeping that in mind, minimum 50 hours of continuous professional development training will be given to the teachers, right? And also, when there is training, there has to be something which is tracking how much you have performed or how much you have achieved, right? What changes need to be brought. So because of that, merit-based tenure track system they have introduced. So they are giving training. So through this track system, they are going to track how much you have, understood, what additional changes need to be done, what remedies need to be there for the teachers, right? And what are the loopholes, what the system can do to help the teachers, right? Next is national professional standards for teachers, which they will bring by 2022, right? So here some standards will be mentioned, which basically includes promotions for teachers from maybe, foundational stage to the next stage, preparatory stage. So promotions will be there, like they will, mention like what will be the parameters to promote a teacher from one stage to another, then the salary raises, right, etc. So this is basically the structure which has been given, and the primary motive is they want to empower the teachers, right? They want them to feel the autonomy to choose the pedagogy. They want them to feel motivated while teaching, right? And lastly, by 2030, minimum qualification for teaching will be 4-year integrated B.Ed degree. So don't be afraid, teachers, because if you notice the year, it is 2030. So there is a lot of time, but this is what it has been proposed, that 2030 minimum qualification will be 4-year, right? So now the school leadership. So right. So what additional support will be given to the school leadership, to the teachers, right? So it says necessary facilities for the initial professional preparation of these educations and CDP will be given, right? And how many minimum hours? 50 hours of CDP, right? Based on their interest and professional area. So you will be having liberty to choose what interests you, in which area you want to get trained, right? And also the last point is ample opportunity to get upskilled on latest pedagogy, right? Pedagogy related to foundational literacy, numeracy, formative and adaptive assessment of learning outcomes. So all these pedagogy you will be taught, and not to forget, you have the liberty to choose your own pedagogy.